World War II American soldier letters were called V-mail, which was short for Victory Mail. More than 1 billion V-mail letters were delivered between June 1942 and November 1, 1945, when V-mail service ended. These letters were photographed onto microfilm, then printed out when they arrived at the destination. This decreased the space needed for transport and made letter delivery much more efficient. All letters were reviewed for sensitive information to ensure that all strategies and troop movements remained secret. In very hard conditions, soldiers were able to communicate with their loved ones back home, and this gave them hope for life after the war and their future. This helped soldiers continue to fight and do what they needed to do to win the war. These letters are important historical documents that give us insight into the life of soldiers during this time. According to the National World War II Museum, approximately 407,316 U.S. soldiers died during World War II. The Allies lost around 1,093,000 soldiers. Many of these soldiers had high hopes of getting home. They all had a last letter they sent to someone they cared about. One such soldier was Harry Schiraldi. He served as a medic in the 116th Infantry Regiment, 29th Infantry Division during the Normandy landings. This was his last letter to his mother.
Dear Ma, just a few lines tonight to let you know that I'm fine, and I hope everybody at home is in the best of health. I just finished playing baseball and took a nice shower, and now I feel very nice. I hope everything is going alright at home, and don't forget, if you ever need money, you can cash my war bonds. This afternoon, I went to church and I received Holy Communion again today. Getting holy, ain't I? Well, Ma, that's all I've got tonight. I'll close with my love for all and hope to hear from you very soon. Take care of yourself. One of your loving sons, Harry.
Schiraldi was killed by enemy gunfire the morning of the Normandy landings. He is buried now in the Calvary Cemetery in New York. Michael Andrew Scott came from a large family of 8, and at the beginning of the war, he was a teacher. He enlisted and became a part of the Bomber Command's 110 Squadron. He kept a detailed diary of his feelings on the war and personal passions such as music. His last letter was to be given to his father upon his death. It read,
Dear Daddy, as this letter will only be used after my death, it may seem a somewhat macabre document, but I do not want you to look on it in that way. I've always had a feeling that our stay on Earth, that thing which we call life, is but a transitory stage in our development, and that the dreaded monosyllable death ought not to indicate anything to be feared. I've had my fling and must now pass on to the next stage, the consummation of all earthly experience. So don't worry about me. I shall be all right. I would like to pay tribute to the courage which you and Mother have shown, and will continue to show, in these tragic times. It is easy to meet an enemy face to face and to laugh him to scorn. But the unseen enemies, hardship, anxiety, and despair are a very different problem. You have held the family together as few could have done, and I take off my hat to you. He ended with, All I can do now is to voice my faith that this war will end in victory, and that you will have many years before you in which to resume normal civic life. Good luck to you, Mick.
While flying formation with a fighter escort, he was killed over the English Channel. May 18, 1940 was his last diary entry. His diary was returned to his family, and the final entry in his diary was added by Flora, his sister. It read, Missing, believed killed. No further news of Mick was ever heard. Lieutenant Tommy Kennedy, 21, was captured by the Japanese during the war. He was a prisoner of war for almost 3 years and was very malnourished during that time. He kept 2 family photos during this time and wrote a letter home on the back of them. It read,
Mommy and Dad, it is pretty hard to check out this way without a fighting chance, but we can't live forever. I'm not afraid to die, I just hate the thought of not seeing you again. Buy Turkey Ranch with my money, and just think of me often while you're there. Make liberal donations to both sisters. See that Gary has a new car his first year in high school. I am sending Walt's medals to his mother. He gave them to me in September 42, last time I saw him and Bud. They went to Japan. I guess you can tell Patty that fate just didn't want us to be together. Hold a nice service for me in Bakesfield and put headstone in New Cemetery. Take care of my nieces and nephews. Don't let them ever want anything, as I want even warmth and water now. Loving and waiting for you in the world beyond. Your son, Lieutenant Tommy Kennedy.
After his passing, his letter was passed from one POW to another until it could be mailed. His family received it about 4 years after his deployment to the Pacific.